Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video, and we finally saw Black Panther 2. Wait. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And they call it Wakanda Forever because it's a tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman. Everything from how the tone of the movie went to the structure, you kind of knew that they were going to speak on the great loss that we had with that character. I'll get more into why that was a strength and why it was also a weakness for the movie for me. Now, I've already recorded this and had to re-record it because, well, tech issues. It was unfortunate. 7 minutes into rambling only to realize none of it was picked up. So that's how my day's going. Hopefully you're having a better one. But I digress. This movie, and I'll try to be more succinct after already saying most of my thoughts. This movie picks up with the actual funeral. Yeah. They tried to be as close to real life as possible. What I mean by that is he actually died real life from an illness, right? We're talking Chadwick Boseman, the T'Challa character, right? So they kind of say the same thing happened here. He had an illness, he's gone, and the family is rallying around each other to hold themselves up. Not only that, but you have other nations looking at Wakanda as weak. Not only was he a superhero, he was the king. He was the face of this nation, right? So without him there, you're left with the queen, and Angela Bassett does a great job here. She's showing you why in any role she can be the most poignant and powerful person. I really enjoyed her character here, and I think some of the other characters were not developed as well as they should have. I say that saying that this movie felt like it was half Namor, and half Black Panther. What they did here was they gave him more of a backstory, and they gave him some more character depth. They instead of just being a generic, white guy with wings on his feet that can swim, he's got a Mayan background. They allude to him being known as some kind of god. He's a mutant. He's the first mutant canonically in Marvel Comics. At least the first to be identified as that, right? There's obviously guys older than him that are mutants. But I digress. It was nice to see that character on screen. I didn't like all the face piercings and tattoos and all the stuff they tried to give him, but that was to speak to the background and the ancestry that he has, right? They have him pitted against the Kingdom of Wakanda simply because you've got a scientist who developed a technology that could track vibranium. Now, as far as Wakanda knows, there's only vibranium on Wakanda. You've got the arm from Bucky, Winter Soldier, and you've got Captain America's shield. And there should be no instances of it anywhere else other than those places outside of Wakanda. Or so you thought. Namor has a kingdom filled with it. And evidently there were 2 meteorites, one that landed in Wakanda that they created their nation around, and then another one that Namor ended up doing stuff with. This may not be what's in line with the comics, but this is what they were going with in the story. So who is this scientist? Namor wants this person dead because they feel like they'll bring attention from the surface world to under the sea, right? No one wants to look for Atlantis and not find anything. You get me? So knowing this, he's like, hey, I need y'all's help. We need to find the scientist and kill him at all costs. The reasonable people at Wakanda are like, why would we kill somebody? We don't even know who this is, and we can work something out. And really, why should we believe you, fish man? Vibranium's only here in Wakanda. So that's where the conflict resides. This scientist happens to be Riri Williams. And for those of you who don't know, that's Ironheart. This character was created by the great Brian Michael Bendis. Shout out to Bendis. They gave you that character. She's very into tech. She's a young college student. She's pretty much the heir apparent to Iron Man, right? So that series will be on Disney Plus, and they interwove this character's debut into this story here. So you've got Namor debuting and Ironheart, and they tried to mix all that together. The weakness here is you don't get to see Shuri develop much as a character as you should, right? I said felt like half Namor and the backstory and exposition on who he was and why he's the way he is, and that took away from what's actually going on with Shuri. She went from serving her brother and being the tech person to now her mom, and the movie was predictable in the sense that you kind of knew she would be Black Panther. The focus was on her, even though it felt like she was they didn't want her to be a Disney princess, but that's kind of how it looked for much of the movie, even when she's, interacting with Namor and his people. So, what actually is going on here? I won't spoil the entire movie, but what I will say is this. The conflict was predictable and how it was going to play out. It was a misunderstanding, and there's one ideology of, hey, we're protecting ourselves versus should we do what is right? Should we protect ideology? Should we protect morale? And that's really what separates Black Panther and him being a superhero versus him just being protector of Wakanda. And that was the lesson we learned in the first movie, right? So why do we need to learn it again? And I guess they were trying to teach that to Shuri, and they did in a scene where there's a character from one of the other films that returns, and I won't say who that is, but you could probably figure it out. The character says, hey, do you want to be like me, or do you want to be like your brother? You've got to pick. So while that was interesting, it felt a little unnecessary, being as though we knew what Black Panther is supposed to represent. It's not like it was T'Challa only who was Black Panther. There's a whole lineage of these characters from Ancestry, and they try to honor that character through Chadwick Boseman and pass the torch to Letitia Wright's Shuri character. And it just didn't feel as charming, it didn't feel as impactful as it should have been. Okay? So that's why for me, you add that to the sad music, the music selection I was not a fan of. It felt like while you could enjoy this movie and let it speak for itself, it's not one that I'm going to be hyped to rewatch, right? As sad as Avengers Infinity War was, I can enjoy that on its own. The real life death and loss, it felt different. It felt so much different. It left me feeling like this was somebody that I knew, and I was rewatching their funeral. That's kind of what was a downer for me. And I know somebody somewhere was like, well, that's what they were trying to convey to you, and that's why you should rank it higher. But I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10. It fell flat for me with the actual ending. Most of it was a predictable story. They left you with no semblance of, hey, this is Wakanda now, right? It just leaves you with the Black Panther will return, but not what else have you done after, the whole kingdom got wrecked, right? We lost some characters, lots of collateral damage. There was just some kind of truce. Namor is treacherous and trickery and makes all kinds of backdoor deals, so we'll probably see that character again. He's a Fantastic Four character first, so there's a lot more cameos I expect to see of that character. So it was, you just knew that this character wasn't going to go away in the very first movie, right? The very first appearance, it wasn't going to happen. So while I like Letitia Wright's design for the suit, I did not like Letitia Wright as Black Panther. I guess it's Shuri, it's okay, but it just took me out of the movie. So you add that with the music selection, just the vibe of the movie. I think I knock it down 3 points to a 7 out of 10. There is an after credit scene. It didn't really do anything for me. While they're not going to recast T'Challa, that doesn't mean there won't be another male Black Panther. If you follow the comic books, you know that Shuri at a certain point does become Black Panther, but it's only for a limited time. So we'll see what they do going forward with this movie franchise. Just a 7 out of 10 again isn't bad. Some of y'all will be like, it should have been a 10 out of 10. It should have been great. It should have been... No, that's not how I felt about it. So I'm not going to tell you not to see it. Oh, it was hot garbage. No, that's not what it was. Just for me, I guess I was expecting something more. And it's hard to follow that up. You rarely... You know, I'm pretty sure if Chadwick was still with us, it would have been a different type of movie. And there would have been different things that filled the space of the time and not a whole lot of backstory. It could have been a whole bunch of, hey, I remember how I lost this person and that person, and you don't need to feel this kind of rage and what have you, and just stuff like that. Who knows? Who knows? That's just me speculating here at this point. But did you see this movie? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Why? Why not? Let me know in the comments. I do have another movie that I'll probably review soon, so stay tuned for that. Hope to see you guys again soon. Other Yellow Hat Guy is out.
Captain Sensation!